Hey everyone, thank you for coming. If anyone's even there, doing some work. So I got this compact a week, 2 weeks ago, and but I'm gonna open that already. So the Orc Combat Patrol's actually got some pretty interesting models in it. It's got a boss mega armor, 20 Orc boys, some copters, and a Death Dread. I think. Um, I don't know like why I'm saying this. Like I know what the hell I'm doing. I don't. We got three copters. I believe this is part of the Death Dread. The Orc Mega Boy, or sorry, the Orc Boss and Mega Armor, the rest of the Death Dread, and the two Orc Screws. So, the unique thing that was packaged in this was this unaltered kind of pack of looks like Imperial Guard uh, figures. Don't know exactly how they got in there. I don't even think they're from the same sprue catalog, but hey, there they are. So, I'm gonna level with anyone who watches this. First of all, why are you watching this? I don't know what I'm doing. But I'm trying to get better at the hobby aspect of this. It's something I've always been really frustrated with. What I do is a kind of a strange approach. Usually what I'd do is I'd find someone at the local game store who I knew was really good at hobbying stuff. I would then try and build things in front of them until they got so frustrated with me finding competence that they just kind of yell at me, take it over, and then, hour or so later I'd come back and everything would be built. Which, works, but really not the way to make a kind of individualized kind of army. So for all this stuff, we have this GW sprues, and I'm just going to build some orc boys for today because that's really all I'm capable of doing. Now, the reason why I picked orc boys is one, if you're playing orcs, you really can't have enough of them, and two, I'm not very good at this. So one of the really nice things about orcs and orc boys is that if they look crappy, I can lie and say it was intentional. You know, like yeah, no, I wanted my orcs to look like a pile of hot garbage. They're orcs. It's what they do. So let's get started. Cut everything out. These in the in the combat patrol look like they're all monopose. I think they're actually the kind of pressed together ones that you can do glueless. I'm not going to do that just because most models aren't glueless, but these ones seemingly are. I know this is super exciting, and you're glad you've clicked on this really shitty looking JPEG of a blurry file, but it's what it is. Now, I usually like to kind of hobby and hang out with people, but I moved recently, so I really don't have anyone to do that with yet. Kind of the end result is this channel, which will probably kind of suck. Sorry, I'm not used to doing this on camera, so kind of have to work on getting it into a more visible position. We'll get there eventually. Doesn't really matter. No one's watching anyways. Got to make sure you get all the kind of, I don't know what they're called. The part where the screw connects to the model itself, you clip that, but it kind of leaves like a bit of plastic residue. Whoa, this camera does not focus very well. Hey, someone said hello on the chat. How you doing? Exciting times. So, yeah. So this is just gonna be an orc boy who's got a choppa. Like all orcs, they're really just kind of built to be beating the ever living tar out of things. I personally kind of want to play orcs so that I can have 180 orc boys screaming up the table like a bunch of idiots. Kind of matches what I want to do. And, with 10th ed coming up, I have no idea if that is going to be a even sort of like possible thing to do. I'm waiting. Orcs haven't been really too released yet. We don't know much about them, but a good dry fit on these models that have been kind of stuck together. So one thing that I'm going to do is, oh crap. Well, we got our first major flub of the day. Not the last. I might not be able to get these apart. Well, that's not good. Well, live and learn. This dude's together now. Welcome to it. Uh, so one thing that I don't really know with orcs with 10th edition coming out is like, is this going to be a viable playstyle? Will I be able to win games by having a bunch of idiots screaming up the board? And truth be told, I don't really care. I know there's going to be some people who, view everything in that kind of lens of what's good, what's bad, what works, what doesn't. And man, even if all the rules were out, I couldn't tell you. I'm not exactly a good or even competent player of this game, but I enjoy it. It's fun, building your own army. I was really into War Machine for a very long time. And War Machine kind of has a significantly more competitive aspect to it. That I'm kind of not seeing as much in 40K. I remember when I first got started playing this, maybe like a year ago, I want to say. My first game was against my friend Sam, and it was just such a weird experience because when you come from War Machine where everything is in these very like specific inch measurements, where everything's really tight, everything's really kind of precise and kind of having like this much looser flowing game, it was quite enjoyable. I hadn't had fun with War Machine in a couple of years. I just took it too seriously, but this game's like just much more relaxing, more fun, and that's kind of like its own kind of great perspective. So with these kind of mono piece kits, really there isn't a whole lot of like kind of designing that you can do. But once I get a little bit more confident, get a couple more models in, what I'm planning on doing is building just some boxes. Oh shit! Seriously? Ha! That one doesn't count as a flub. I got it out. Once I get a little bit more confident with it and getting these built and eventually painted and everything else, I do already have a box of regular orc boys that I'm going to get stretched out. If you are watching this, I encourage you to, build some models while you're watching it. This is just gonna be like hanging out. Everything you do looks good. Even if it looks bad, it looks good. I've never been too much into like kind of that elitism sort of thing, which I haven't run into in this game at all, or much of any game. Although I will say, I've heard about it, and it just seems kind of crappy. It takes away the fun of it, We're basically doing a sort of tuned-up version that does not still count. Chat. That does not count as a flub. So the reason why this channel is called Glued Hand Hobbying is that when for God's sake, when I make models by myself on those rare occasions, I have a tendency to glue my hand to things. One time I glued my hand to one of my friend's dice, and I tried to give him the dice back, but a big chunk of my flesh stayed on it, so he decided not to keep it, which frankly I found a little hurtful. Like that was a gift, right? Anyways, as I was saying, I'm hoping you're going to be building some models along with me. It can be whatever you want. It doesn't have to be 40K. It doesn't have to be, GW at all. I like GW's miniature line quite a bit. I think they all look really good. I like the plastic. It's really nice and light and, altogether kind of nice. Gets good amount of detail, and it's not made of pewter, so it doesn't take like 5 freaking hours for it to set. But yeah, one orc way down. 19 more to go. So one of the kind of unfortunate things about the come on, one of the really unfortunate things about the combat patrol is the sorry, I'm not used to doing this on a camera. It's kind of hard for me to get it over there. One of the nice things about the combat patrol, or frustrating things about the combat patrol, is that since everything is monopose and does that snap together, you kind of does. You don't get a lot of choice. You don't get a lot of options. So yeah, happy little armies. Thanks, chat. Um, just out here murdering. Uh, you don't get a lot of choice here. So half of these guys are going to be Shuda boys, and half of them are going to be Choppa boys. And maybe it's because the Shudas are worse, and that kind of competitive part of my brain still goes, and I see that 5 up ballistic skill, and I'm just like, ooh. But, like, it just seems less fun to me than having this giant tide of weirdos sprinting full force ahead, screaming at the top of their lungs. Okay. Not bleeding. Isn't that kind of the goal, to not bleed while doing this? So that's just less fun to me. But if that's your jam, if you want to have some really shoot at orcs, that's sweet too. Like, orcs are just kind of cool. They're easily my favorite kind of faction in terms of philosophy. They're a little weird. I think they started off as kind of like a joke faction, maybe. Like, literally painting it red makes it go faster, all those things. But they kind of have like this nice joyfulness that other factions don't have, when it's kind of just like they're just some weird folks in a really weird time. They kind of fit together. So this one snaps just together like that. But I am going to remember what I said this time. Wait a minute. Okay, maybe I. So I was getting a little bit of a gap there. So let's see if we can clean that up. Or not. Come on. I'm sure this is thrilling television. Hey. If you are building something, throw it into the chat. Say what you're building. See what we're building together. Okay. Got it taken apart. So it's kind of not coming together along this seam, and that's sort of the problem that I've run into when I've dealt with these kind of pre-pinned ones. Even though I'm not an expert by any stretch of the imagination, I've done a couple of these sort of like pre-made, pre-snapped together kind of guys, because they fit with my skill level. But the problem I've always found is they don't snap together quite right. So we get a dry fit in here and we get it nice and snug. I was doing or trying to do the Redemptor Dreadnought kind of easy kit. And it just didn't come together the way I wanted it to. The model still looks really good. It looks really cool. I like all the Primaris line stuff. The thing of it is, it just has all these kind of like panel gaps, which I think once I get to like building a truck or something, assuming we ever even get that far before I cut a finger off, once we get to that point, yeah, I think I can have some panel gaps in there. They're orcs. It's part of the charm of them, is that they will be kind of very ramshackle, very stuck together. They're not going to fit together right, and they're not supposed to. So you can take what you're terrible at and make it a thing. So we have someone peeling vegetables, which is, in fact, the modeling of the kitchen. Get some glue on there. So this is the Citadel plastic glue. I like this kind of stuff a lot more than normal glue, although whew, you smell it and it can really knock you out. It's got some thunk. Yeah, there you go. So we got one choppa, or one half of a choppa, I suppose, at this point. Now we just got to find the rest of them. Whoa. Okay. So when we look at this, we just did 16, and 17. I got to look over at my instruction book. Next, we got to grab 18. You know, one thing that I have to say is kind of incredible is, and this is like a really dorky thing to be impressed by, but I like it, is just how well put together these sprues are. You know, they kind of like everything leads into each other. They all kind of are close to each other. It makes it really easy and really nice to kind of build the pieces together. So this one's just got a little chest plate. We're just gonna go ahead and fumble together a little bit and snap that right into position. So as you can see, we got more of those kind of gaps we were talking about earlier, just kind of appearing there. A little bit hard to see because my camera is not very good and it's got a weird focus point. But you can kind of see the gap running right along this edge, right? So we're just going to get this in here. We're going to pop it out. We're going to see what we can do to get that gap a little bit tighter, a little bit closer. You know, if all else fails, I've seen people use green stuff to kind of fix that. I've never been or even tried green stuff. It seems pretty scary. You know, because once you put that in there, it's permanent, man. Can't do anything about that once it's in there. But, you know, I probably will do it eventually for this channel, assuming that it keeps going. But you never know. Maybe people will actually like this. Can't account for taste. Right, got that little nub pushed off, and that wasn't allowing the pin to go all the way in. So we're just going to do another dry fit. Again, do another dry fit. Third time's the charm. And yeah, that time it came together a lot better. It actually got full seal all the way through to there. A little cleanup. So then we're just going to get a little bit of glue in. So one thing I did a lot when I first started building models, and then even more when I actually like tried to make models as opposed to pass off the responsibility to others. Whoa. Is put way too much glue on there. And I just, you know, as a demonstration of that, I just did that now. I put too much glue on there. So now I was getting my fingers all stuck together. One of the really nice things about the plastic glue is that it makes it a lot harder for you to glue your fingers together, which is a big deal for me because I do it all the time. So yeah, now we got this next boy. Kind of got a big dagger. Little feet. So one thing that I've been thinking about with these orcs is what kind of sub-faction do I want them to be in? Really, I'm leaning towards the Goth guys because, well, one of my friends studies Goth mice, spelled the same way, which I think is pretty cool. And they're mice that are just like really chunky mice. They're just like big boy mice, you know? I think that's just a neat little tie together. And then the other reason why is that they have access to some guy. Whoa, fucking hell. Whoops. Okay, that I will count as a flub for whoever's keeping track of the flub. There we go. Yeah, I got his head in. I'm not gonna be able to get that out, but I'm gonna count that as one singular flub together with me accidentally launching it across the room. So, you know, and they also have access to Gothkilla name that I can't say right, who's pretty cool. I actually really like that model. I think it looks very, very good. The other one I'd want to do is either the Lucky Blue Gets or the Freebootas, just because I dig the pirate hats. Pirate hats are always fun. But we don't know what any of the rules are yet, and I'm really not trying to make rule-based decisions. Oh, and you might be wondering, why are you just showing your hands? Why? And the reason why is that I'm fuck ugly. So, don't want to break anyone's computer screen from having to see me. The next one we're going to be doing is going to be the 6 and 7 squat. So yeah, no, I do have a slight concern with doing golf though, because apparently they're the correct meta choice for it, which is something I always try and avoid. I want to be different. I don't think anyone's dropping the mic, throwing the mic. You know how it is. That can also join the flub count. Sure. This is a professional podcast. Is that golf is kind of supposedly the best, but I don't know. The last time I asked someone that question, it was like 3 or 4. I don't know what their corrections process are called. I'm just going to call it a firmware update. It was a couple of updates ago, and maybe they're not anymore. They could be replaced by whoever. One of the kind of weird things, I don't know how to feel about it yet, with this game is that it doesn't feel very set, which I think is good for a certain amount of stuff, right? Like who, hmm, you don't want to have it so that there's like 3 or 4 lists that are just dominating everything. We saw that a lot, especially near the end of uh, War Machine Third Edition. Was just like there are 3 lists, and those 3 lists are just kind of everywhere. Right? And you don't want that, but at the same time, I feel like things get changed so fast that your legs kind of get taken out from under you. And it's kind of informed my decision to just be like, hey, I want to play a list with just ninth. Right now, ninth at the most you can get is 180 orc boys in a single detachment. I mathed it out once because I guess I had nothing better to do. You can get something like 240 orc boys in a list across 2 detachments, which I mean I'm not going to do just because it's a lot of orc boys, and that's just too many orc boys. I don't think I'll be able to get them all deployed right. But I just think it's like kind of like a cool thematic play style of just like throwing wave after wave of orcs at them and just seeing if they can get them all. Like it's fluffy. That's what I care about with this game is doing the green tide, doing a green flood of just orcs. But if that's not good in the next edition, it's not going to stop me from doing it. I think that right now the way the game is kind of set up, it feels like it's a lot of how do I put this? Elite spam, I guess. I feel like there isn't. Maybe Tyranids have it. I'm not a competitive player. I don't know why I'm even pontificating across this, but I feel like you see just a lot of orcs, or not orcs. You see a lot of Tyranids. At least in my meta where I played, there was high elves were really good. Not high elves. Eldar, I think is what they're called in this one. I'm absolutely crushing it on the names front. You can count that as a flub if you want. It's up to you. That's actually probably the greatest feature of the Citadel glue bottle is that if it gets knocked over, it kind of rights itself. Nifty little bottle. Oh. So we'll just do a little bit more model cleanup. The other faction that I've played is Space Marines. I've done some Black Templar, I did some Blood Angels. I did a little bit of Demons using some 3D printed models, and I had a lot of fun with that. But I was trying to. I really wanted like a horde feeling, and I liked that. But by the time the Demon update came out, they got rid of the sort of horde mechanics for it. And it's one of the reasons why I'm a little apprehensive about buying, $400 of orcs, is if they take orcs and they do that same thing where they kind of limit the number of boys you can have from 30 down to 10, like they did with the demon guys. And if they make them better, like that's cool. That's, it's just not what I want. I want a bunch of dudes barely keeping it together, holding on for dear life as they run at you. Sometimes fast, sometimes slow. I'm willing to bet that there's going to be uh, some more vehicles this time around. I'm seeing toughnesses of like 12 or so. That's gonna be pretty nice. So that's 3 orcs down. Going to our next. Let's see what we got here. Number 14 is what we're starting with. That might be a boy. It might not. I don't know. Now, the other really nice thing about the orc choppas is even if they don't get there, there's at least a lot of them. That kind of creates its own sort of visual impression. That's nice. I don't think. I think you don't get impressed by a single orc. You get impressed by the fact that there's 100 bastards running at you. Okay, and the other half of this is a 15. There we go. It's always wild to me how these things come out. Like you see the individual sprue parts. Like this is just a wild looking piece. Now you kind of have just a head and kind of like attached to an arm via the, I guess, a very very thick neck. It connects on down. Okay. So here we go. I don't know if it's actually possible to get a mega boss outside of the combat patrol. Do you think he is now? I'm gonna take that total silence found in the chat to be. Oh, of course you're correct, Jake. Of course. You're so smart and brave and handsome. Huh. Oh, the chat did respond, so they no longer think I'm smart, brave, or handsome. Hurtful, hurtful guys. Yeah. So I guess this is melee boy. That looks like he has a pistol as opposed to a regular shooter. He's got a grenade. I guess he could clip someone with a grenade. Might hurt, but you can do it. Probably be super effective. It's a one turn. Okay, yeah, fourth orc boy done. Oh, that one needs a lot of cleanup. Ooh, I did a bad job cleaning this guy up. I don't think I did. It's said by someone somewhere that really once you start getting painter and primer on things, that's where you see where you miss the lines, where you miss the mold cleanup, and all that sort of stuff. At that point, you're kind of SOL. Get that thing on there. Oh, it looks like that is a stink bomb. I'll check the rules on that here in a second. One of the nice things about orcs, though, especially on the armor, is if there is there's a seam or mold line or anything. Again, it's intentional. You left it there. These are avant-garde orcs. Orc avant-garde. That's a large bit of sprue left on the gun there. Don't know if that can be seen. So the big news in the kind of dork world right now is the Xbox released Redfall this week, and apparently a real tire fire. But on a sort of talk show thing, it sounded kind of like they were just sort of accepting that they were never going to be able to compete with Sony or Sony or Nintendo, and they're just going to pack it in on the Xbox, which is true. You want something to compete with those two guys to kind of stop them from just taking up the whole market. I can't get that last little piece off. This is how I cut my finger off. Yeah, there we go. There you go. Got a nice little orc boy. Avant Gork. Or Avant Mork is apparently what we're going to go with. Oh, yeah. Morgan Black. If you do want to send that to me, I'll find a way to pay you back for the shipping. If it's built, not a big deal. I can always do the other hobbying aspect of it. The kind of cool thing about orcs is, like I said, everything's kind of ramshackle. So what I could do is with the kind of sprue pieces and everything else, I can see if I can make a custom truck. Apparently, that's a thing that I saw someone online saying people do. I have no idea. Let's see here. I think we're almost out of fighting boys. We're almost the shooting boys. Okay. I'll go with B9 and B8 next. I'm nowhere near the skill level required to just be able to look at the sprue and be like, oh, this goes here, this goes there, these go together. I feel like once you get enough of those down, you kind of start to do it. I feel like if I do my plan and get 170 more orc boys to have 180 total choppers just running at people, probably by the end of that, I'll be like, oh, that goes there, this goes here. I really do enjoy building these things. I'm just so bad at it. I feel like I have a friend who paints whole armies over the course of a weekend that all look magnificent. He does everything Alfaris themed because he's a Space Marine player. I mean, he does some cool stuff, and I'm just like, ugh, I can't even get close to that level. I could do it over a week, and it's one model over a week, and it would look like garbage compared to that. But he does some really, really great work. Okay. All right, we got those all pulled apart. So we're gonna just get this guy kind of snapped together. I was originally just gonna try and, like, remove all the snaps and do it manually, but that's proven to be kinda difficult, so if we're getting somewhere we get those kind of loose fits like before, then I'll probably saw them down and get them corrected, but right now, I think we're good just kinda dry fitting these things and getting them snapped together. Glue 'em when we need to, but otherwise, I think we're good. Um, okay. Sometimes I think, what if someone who doesn't know me sees this and goes, "My god, what an idiot." And to that, I can say, "Yeah, yes, I am." If you were watching this to, be like, "Oh, I wanna see what this absolute master at the top of this game is like," that ain't me. I'm a schlub, the schlubbiest part of the schlub schlub. If you feel like commenting, "You're an idiot who doesn't know what he's doing," rest assured, I already know. But, that's how you get better. One day at a time. A little bit here, a little bit there. Eventually, things start looking fine. Come on. There you go. Yeah, this is looking like a Shooter the more I put them together. It's got a nice little piece. Yeah, like I was kind of mentioning it earlier, but I have nothing against the Sheeta style of it. It's just feel like a little too much hoping that you roll a lot of fives. And I mean, I guess when you roll a lot of fives for your for your hits, oh boy, that's really good. That's gonna do a lot of damage. You have so many shots, so many shots. I think each Shuda is what, DACA 4-3 or something. So if you're within close range, it's gonna pump a ton of bullets into them, and some of them are gonna hit. Just mathematically. If you spike it a little bit, you're doing a whole lot of damage, whole lot of work. Really, pretty low cost. I think each orc boy here in uh, ninth edition we're at the very tail end of. Um, I think they're 8 points a piece, maybe more, maybe less. Um, either way, real cheap. To get a ton of shots just for that cheap is always nice. But that's just not what I want to do. I feel like having the shooters requires like a certain level of tactical play to do well that frankly I don't feel like dealing with. You want to get them to the right spot. You got to know when to fall back, when to charge forward after falling back. I never want to fall back with the orcs. They're exactly where they want to be. I feel like they don't want to win the fight. They just want to have it. So why back up? It's one of those things where literally I'll be playing a game and I'll be like, well, what's the smart thing to do here? Yeah, screw that noise. What's the cool thing to do? Always go with the rule of cool. This guy's kind of drunkenly stumbling over. Oh, the new rapid fire rule works for. When did they announce the rapid fire rule? I didn't see that. Probably in the chat that was sent to me today that I did not pay enough attention to. Seems like something I would do. Okay, so let's do B20 next. I played Space Marines before this, and it was nice having kind of like armies, but I don't know when it was, maybe 6 months ago or so. They gave everything free points for like equipment and stuff. It's such a weird thing to do. Like it totally threw the balance off. But now I was getting like 500 free points with Meltas or whatever. Every Black Templar list because all the vehicles can just have a 20-point Melta, but now it's free. So why wouldn't you take that? And I just, I thought that kind of robbed it of some stuff. There we are. There's 21. The spill-proof glue bottle comes in handy again. Oop, that is all wrong. All wrong. So it's looking like it's coming together pretty well. Just needs a little bit of cleanup, a little bit of file work here. Oh, so really they did just make rapid fire DACA instead of. Wonder how that's going to affect Space Marines. They have a lot of, or well, I guess I don't know what they look like anymore, but they had a lot of stuff that allowed them to take full advantage of the rapid fire rules by not moving or whatever. That'd be kind of cool. A nice little bit of dome on this fella. This looks like an uncomfortable existence, kind of being without arms. Those orcs are technically like they're what, peat moss or something. They'll grow back. They'll be fine. I feel like somebody somewhere is going to run into this thing and be like, "Oh, you thought they were peat moss? How dumb can you be?" They'd be really mad at me about it. Like I don't care. They're fungus. Peat moss is a fungus, I think. I'm almost certain peat moss is not a fungus, actually. Yes. Yes. Orcs are fungus, and that makes them all fun guys. That pun was brought to you via Dad. Here we go. Where did you see that intercessor information, Jace? Because I didn't see them being heavy. All these things come out midday for me, and I'm working, or at least I should be working. Probably should be focusing more than I am, but I don't get a chance to really deep dive into them. And then by the time I have a chance to, the conversation's usually moved on for my friends, and kind of hard to follow back around on it. I need to remember to actually, open it in Discord instead of, or sorry, open it in Discord, then open it in a own file instead of just using Discord. Because once the conversation moves on, it's gone forever. Well, not forever. It would require me to, spend 5 minutes looking for it, and that's just too much work. Too much work. So I've been doing tabletop miniatures and war games since I was in high school. 40K, but the community I was kind of in when I first started playing was just slightly more toxic than Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. So I got out of there ASAP and just had a bunch of stuff rolling around my house. And I did War Machine for a good long amount of time. Did some Malifaux, which was a ton of fun. Did Dystopian Wars, which, man, I don't even know. That game was sweet, but also a train wreck. Um, a boat train wreck. Haha, tish. And because of that, I I didn't really make my own model. Where like building it and painting it myself until less than a year ago, and so it means I went about 15 years of playing miniature war games without ever actually fully engaging or even kind of engaging with the hobby side of it. Which not a especially in 40K. I don't know. I don't think War Machine's not a bad game by any stretch of the imagination, but it doesn't have quite the level of customization and personality that you can get with one of these 40K factions. Also, this is my first ever episode, so I'm sorry that the camera is terrible. I feel like not a lot of stuff is able to be seen. But I'll get better. Just like I'll get better at hobbying. Just takes time. Just takes time. I will say one thing I don't like about GW is I feel like they have too many skulls. I feel like they need to back up on the skulls. At the very least, get some like Eldari skulls or something in there. Get a Necron skull on the model. Orcs fight more than just people. Orcs fight everything. Orcs fight other orcs. And get these two guys snapped together. Maybe. There we go. So, yeah. Another little orc torso. Orcso. I gotta find B27 on here. I'm also gonna. I think I'm gonna hold off on doing the Death Dread because I think you actually do have options with the Death Dread out of the combat patrol. I'd have to take a closer look at the box, but I'm pretty sure you do. And with kind of knowing the rules up in the air, I'm not looking to build anything that's like the perfect thing, but I also don't want to accidentally make something illegal or something that becomes illegal. And I know GW has really worked on a lot of their business practices from the bad old days, from what I understand. But at the same time, you still always got to be careful. They made some Imperial Guard models illegal or not illegal. They took them out of the codex. I think it was like prisoners or something. I just don't want to accidentally, put something together and be like, oh, crud. I don't think it's going to happen, but always helps to make sure you know what you're doing. That'll probably have to wait until I think the index is coming out sometime in August, June, maybe July, maybe. You know, sometime in the year 2023. Ooh, Yeah, once that comes out, I'll be able to take a better look at that. Otherwise, everything's mono post. I'm also going to be willing to put the orc boys together because I feel like the kind of classic orc boy plus Choppa, go mess some folks up isn't going to go away. I need to look at the codex or Wikipedia since everything changes so fast now that your codex is kind of just like a really nice picture book at this point. But I'd have to take a look at that just to see if orcs can commingle now. If Shooter Boys and Chopper Boys can be in the same unit. I don't know if there was ever a time where they couldn't, but I remember them not being able to. Looks like June 24th is the rumor of when the indexes are coming out. So yeah, once I get that, I can see that I'm not going to make an illegal thing. I'll probably build that guy. That'll be a little bit more complex. These orc boys, much like me, pretty simple. That's our seventh orc boy put together in only 50 minutes. We're going at a blistering speed, guys. Blistering. Blisters over here. I feel like, someone who knew what they're doing, who's really good at this stuff, who had a lot of practice and patience, we'd probably be able to knock one of these out in like half an hour, get all 10 of them built. But once I get the army kind of built, get my points on the table, I'm going to do oh, whoops, do a primer on it. Maybe I'll tape the primer. Probably not though, because that would require me to move shit, and that's not happening. I had to mark this as who's this acceptable to watch for. Really, I don't want to make this like an especially. This isn't only hands. This isn't going to be an adult show. But at the same time, there's a good chance I stab myself and bleed, and I don't want to accidentally, scar a child and make them afraid to do this because some idiot's not good with a knife. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's monopose though. You see that comment about the death thread not being illegal? I don't think it's monopose. We can check that out in a second once I get the schedule. B33. This guy's cool. He's got a repurposed chainsword, which I believe is still a chopper regardless. I don't think it has anything special like the Space Marine chainswords do. Or it gets an additional attack, but maybe. Oh. Okay, this guy tried to make an escape, but we caught him. Just one of their little pistols. Oh, it comes with arm options. So it seems unlikely, but pretty much what I would want to do, if I get the opportunity to, is see how many kill cells I can put on it, and then put that many kill cells on it. Like, I was talking to a friend online, and I described Orc Tech as being like, this is what would happen if a 12-year-old was allowed to make a Metal Gear. And you know what? I am that 12-year-old. I am that 12-year-old making a Metal Gear. And I would just make a Metal Gear, put a butt ton of chainsaws on it, and call it a day. Now, I was one of those kids who was mad when their Pokemon leveled up and they got a new ability, and it was like, focus. No one wants to use that. No one wants to use focus on it. That's dumb. Screw that noise. Ooh. Okay. Okay, this is just missing a leg. And he's about to be leg number 31. He's also got a stink bomb. Not going to be whacking someone over the head with it, though. Shame. Shame to not be whacking someone over the head with your stink bomb. What was the fourth flub? I didn't see another flub. Or was it launching it across the room? If it was launching it across the room, I'll accept that as the fourth flub. That's fair. Yeah, so far these have all come together really well. Haven't really had any of those seal issues since that first one we did. And now we got our eighth orc boy put together. Almost. There we go. Yeah, so let's take a look at that Killican. Not Killican. Death Dread. So we got this set of pieces for it. That's the Mega Boy. There we go. And some more pieces for it. These are just copters. Yeah. So it looks like we have a good amount of options there. I'm seeing a comment saying we can get up to 4 kill saws, which, yeah, that's what we're doing. We're doing 4 kill saws on this bad boy once we get to it. Okay. We got our orc sprues back, our boy sprues back out. So one of the things I'm a little irritated with in this box is that it looks like you don't get to make 20 orc boys. You have to make 18 orc boys and 2 boss knobs, which, you know, it's fine, whatever. But also looks like you don't get to give him a death claw. Oh, maybe you can. Hmm. Okay. So yeah, it looks like you can give him a claw, which I'm going to do because the claw is just cooler. That's just a fact, Jack. Yeah. So I was thinking that you can get up to 29 boys and then 1 knob. Kind of wanted to get just like 19 boys and 1 knob, but it looks like you have to have 2 knobs. So. Although I guess if you got a box of 10 orc boys, wouldn't you have to make a knob? Right? Like theoretically. So that might just be a thing. I just might pick up a concerning number of knobs. Just knob city up in here. Oh, 11 models in a box? That's pretty cool. Cool. So it's a knob and then just 10 boys. And you can have some cool pose knobs. Get some knob diversity. I told my mom that I was gonna do some YouTube stuff, and she was so proud of me. But she asked me if I wanted to become a content creator, like quit my job and do this. God, no, I don't. It seems awful. It's like you don't. If you want to do that full time, do that as your life. Like you have to live your, you know, every second of every day has got to be this stuff, right? As much as I like doing it, as much as I like hobbying, I don't want to have that be the only thing I do. You know, I just want to share some stuff. See, you know, one person who kind of sucks at hobbying is like, oh, I'm terrible. Then they watch this video of someone being even worse. Yeah, makes me feel a little bit better. But like, the other thing that kind of happened this week, like kind of for the 2 online crowd, is some conservative kind of screaming head, shoutcaster, whatever you want to call him. Um, he's getting divorced, and apparently he was abusive and everything. Like, he kind of was like an alpha male type. And it makes me wonder, like, when did his character, who he plays on TV, burn into him just being a jerk in real life, right? It was Steven Crowder, I think, was the guy's name. Don't quite remember. But you know, when does that happen? When do you stop being you and start being your? I just don't want that to become a thing. I'm not interested. How the hell does this go in? Do this later. Okay, well, I might have ruined this one. Good thing I have two. Thing I was just complaining about. Uh-huh. Oh, looks like I might have gotten it. It moved. Come on. Yeah. Aha! There we go. Okay, apparently you're supposed to put the arm in first. I still don't see how this is supposed to go in. Oh, I think I might be looking at exactly the wrong thing. Might be about right. I'm gonna look at the instructions. Oh, yep. This is apparently either a rocket or a minigun looking thing. So let's take a second and make a decision. All right, I'm gonna pull out our handy dandy ork index codex thing, whatever the heck this thing is called. I think I went too far. boyz. Okay, so this can be either a big shooter or a rocket launcher. Rocket launcher looks dumber, so I'm gonna go with the rocket launcher. Is that the right choice? Hell if I know. So this is kind of an interesting way of putting it together. I wouldn't have done it this way, but I'm also an English major, so probably not the guy to be talking to about how to properly package things. But the pin kind of goes in and pushes back this way instead of kind of slotting in on the back end. It's a little bit different. All right. I need 39. It's going to be my shoot arm. Just for the sake of consistency, when I do the second set of 10 boys next week, I'll probably uh, I'll probably give him the big shooter next time instead of this guy. Right. I can't imagine I would. I mean, I might bring a rapid boy over another this boy with a chopper. Might be kind of cool. Just have one idiot in the back just firing away. Although I feel like ultimately with orcs, you want to be every turn you're not charged, you want to be sprinting, dancing, or whatever it's called now. So I don't know how often you'd want to just kind of get it so that you can have a heavy rocket that hits on 6, I think. Oy, that's rough. But it looks cool. So then you just want to pop out a head for him and a little grenades. So we'll just go ahead and shove the head right in. He's got a weird little. He's like the Kaiser. Weird little Kaiser hat. Random Kaiser. Boop. All right, and the last guy we're gonna do is the boss knob, who is also on the space size. Cool. And I got one arm for him right there. Since I have to make 2 boss knobs, I am going to make one of each configuration because, sure, why not? So we're just going to kind of pop them out. This first one we're going to do is going to be one with a power claw. The power claws are cool. You know, everyone loves a power claw. Who doesn't love power claws? Okay. All right. And let's get this last little bit out. Okay. So we're going to start with putting the gun in because he has a. Well, this goes the other way of the last one. It's a little pistol. I feel like how I'm saying "we pistol," like this thing isn't going to fire out a bullet the size of the skull. Hmm. Yeah, so we got that in there. So now we do the power claw of it all. We get B4, 48, and 49. So let's see if we can find that. That's 48. Okay, and then 49. This guy right here. You got this kind of put together. Get the last little bit of excess off. Gotta ram this into him. Kind of fits together nicely there. And I feel like we should get like a leg or something in here before we snap them all together. I feel like I'm missing something. Oh, yeah, there's that leg I was missing. I'll get that leg popped out. Kind of surprised I caught that. I thought for sure I'd screw it up. But hey, I'm getting better already. Even though I already did that once earlier in the stream. All right, got that put together. We just gotta snap this all together. Now we got one knob. Built for ass kicking. So the only thing we need to do is get a head on him. Get on that weird underbite thing. So we had two head options. We got a helmet and no helmet. I'm gonna go with no helmet for this one. We'll do a helmet on the other one. He's still gonna have some adult orthodontia though. So we'll have to glue this one, not quite pressing together, right? Probably put way too much glue in there. Hey, but you only learn by trying and failing. Okay, that came in nice. Got a little underbite. Everything checked out here. Nice and blurry. You can see this in glaucoma. And the last thing for him is going to be giving him a nice backpack. That way he can get to school while carrying his fruits and vegetables. Nice healthy snack. Oh. Let's get that on a different angle. Hey, now we're on the base. Ta-da! One orc knob. There's his backpack. Whoa. All right. So we'll do a little bit of cleanup on this guy. And then you just kind of press it into his spinal column. Whee. All right. One unit of orc boys built. Nice and easy. Only about an hour. Looks like a bit more. But good time. Fun was had by all. Unless you watched this and did not have fun. Fun was had by a lot of people. Well, not a lot of people because no one's watching. But thank you very much for swinging by, for watching. Hope you all have a good day. Bye.